Well, hello, Vinnie, and thank you for having me here today. I'm Meredith Schmidt. I am our EVP of Revenue Cloud here at Salesforce. I'm going to spend some time talking today. What is Revenue Cloud? Really, what's the market? How is it shifting and changing? And why is what we're working on, I think, really critical to all types of businesses? We see so many people moving to subscriptions, usage, all of this. What does it all mean? And how do we really bring it together? So thank you again.
Thank you, Meredith, for joining me. I mean, like you say, this is such an exciting time for business model changes, right? I mean, Panera has just introduced a caffeine as a service. Basically, it's a monthly all-you-can-drink coffee or tea, right? And then on the other hand, on the manufacturing sector, I'm seeing a lot of product companies moving to what's called servitization, right? So outcome-based models. So I'm looking forward to this and looking forward to what you have today and Salesforce's vision. So thank you.
Awesome, thank you. And my other favorite subscription is the Taco Bell has also gone into a subscription service. So if you haven't seen that, you get 10 tacos a month, I guess, on a subscription for $10 a month. So everybody's doing it, all industries.
I'm waiting for the more healthy folks to come up with something. They probably won't.
No, right? I thought I'd just start here. This is the one thing we've been really thinking about is what is the B2B buying journey and how is that really evolving? And I think about, revenue channels and what are the selling models, right? Nobody's a pure play anymore. Even Salesforce has software now. I hate to admit it, but, through acquisition, but you really think about how do customers want to buy, right? Some of it is self-service via e-commerce. Some of it's direct sales, right? Our sellers. What we're seeing more and more even is in product, right? How do you connect your product and actually enable the user of your product to buy in a B2B buying scenario, not just, on an app playing a game, you want some more tokens or something, but it's the same concept. And we're seeing more and more companies within their product really enabling that channel. And then of course, our indirect channel sales, partners, resellers, distributors, multi-tier. How do you really think about all of those buying experiences? And we have to know the buyer, right? You might start out in e-commerce, but might end up in a direct sales. That direct seller needs to have visibility into what was in their cart, right? This is all disconnected today. And this is really some of our vision is kind of ubiquitous across the channel, capturing that data through Revenue Cloud. Where are you? What are you doing? But you can pick up from any channel and really see what the customer has been doing. And you think about the evolution of subscriptions. We started with one-time sales, but subscriptions, and I think even usage and consumption is often sold as a subscription, right? It's you're going to sign up for 12 months of usage. It's 12 months and it renews. Now your usage may actually vary a little bit. But I look at those two as so interrelated. And then just milestones, right? We still have professional services out there. You're seeing more emerging models like pay as you go. And even, I always forget the right term, performance-based, which I think is very much like milestone-based.
Outcome-based, yeah.
Yeah, outcome-based, right? Like we guarantee you X return in your investment, or X automation or X amount of revenue, right? So you're seeing more and more of that. And that's really when we think about how do we approach Revenue Cloud in particular, it's really about that buyer, but I can also put Revenue Cloud in the center, is supporting all these models and supporting all these channels. And I think that's it's getting more complex. And I'd say we're here to help deliver technology to take away that complexity.
Yeah, you mentioned e-commerce, right? I mean, you're getting into transactional areas, right? Order management, fulfillment on the other side. So this is not your grandpa's CRM, right? Not just the yeah.
No, and what's exciting about Revenue Cloud too is when you think about all this data, and you hear this new term of revenue operations, right? It's about sales, marketing, and customer success teams all collaborating on the same data. I like to throw finance in there, right? Because the transactional data is where the rubber hits the road, right? This is what your customers actually bought from you, when they bought it from you. And you start unlocking that data out of your ERP and you bring it in together with your CRM tools, this becomes really powerful, right? I have now my sellers, my finance teams, my marketers all looking at collections data, perhaps billing data, right? But those data, those little elements of data can be really predictive for us, right? We can use patterns we see in buying behaviors, actual transactions, to actually drive marketing campaigns at points in time. Like, I think there's a lot of technology that says, here's the next best product to buy, right? Amazon does it. Here's what others did, but not necessarily at a point in time, right? And I think with this transactional data of your orders, right? We know when customers who bought these products 16 months later bought this product, right? Let's do a campaign to customers in that journey. Right. So you really start thinking about the journey of the customer. But I just
are you also seeing the whole asset management, the input from, in the complex companies, the input from assets coming into the revenue mix?
100%, 100%. We've just built some new technology called asset lifecycle management for exactly this, and working with our field service teams in Service Cloud, right? And working with our industries team, we're really looking holistically at Salesforce across all of our products to say, how do we bring it all together? So for sure. And I would just say, like, these are some of the market trends, and I've kind of touched on some of these a little bit, but this is subscription economy. Like you said, every industry is going into it, and they're looking to, for some best practices. And this is something our team's been working on the last 4 months, is really looking across our over 5,000 customers who are using Revenue Cloud today, right? What are the best practices for implementation? How do we deliver? What I like to think about too is we deliver a process, right? We can deliver and show our customers who are just coming into subscription economy or have been there but are looking for automation. Here's some things that you can do out of box. Here's the best practices that we see across all of our customers, right? What you're seeing more and more too, I would say, is this: we have been in a world, including ourselves internally, of customizations, right? You over customize your technology because you think that you're a snowflake. Like, I think that there's a trend I'm also seeing, it's not on the slide, but I guess business automation and agility. When you over customize, you become less agile, right? You want to do something, and when we think about how we're building our product, we're thinking about what you need to do next, right? That pay as you go, right? Not a lot of folks are doing it today, but we'll put that into our technology. Omni-channel distribution, like, you just have to be everywhere, right? It's a ubiquitous platform. And personalization, I think this is where that data comes into, is really personalized recommendations, whether it's for your sales team, your marketing team, your customer success team, who may be talking to somebody about, some case they've logged, but you see, hey, wait a second, you might be on your journey. Let's make sure every interaction I have with my customer is relevant, right? And you're not just searching for data, but it's there real time for you. I think bringing that single view of the customer, which is really, Salesforce Customer 360, Revenue Cloud brings a new perspective into that, really looking through your orders, your quoting, your invoices, and collections. We're actually launching something next year I'm super excited about, called Einstein Collections, really using AI to help prioritize for a collections team, right? This customer always pays 5 days late. Don't call them, right? They're going to pay. Wait till they're 10 days late, right? So it starts looking at behavioral patterns of even your customer on payments. And it makes think about the collector in collecting on invoices, on prioritizing,
sure.
Prioritizing your work and just becoming more effective. And, all of this leads to automation. Of course, me being a finance person prior to, my first 13 years at Salesforce was actually running our revenue operations team before I came over here to help build the product. But it's about controls and compliance too. As large public companies and even, privately funded companies, you have to have audited financial statements. You have to have controls, and know your revenue is the number one thing you got to get right. Right. And so I think about, you've got great product that drive process. That process drives automation. That automation can drive really intelligence, predictive analytics, AI. And, You know, my dreams when I talk to the product team is I want to come to work in the morning, open up my computer. Revenue Cloud tells me something as simple as, did you know this approval has routed 1,000 times? It's been approved 99% of the time. It's just slowing down your deal cycles. Take the approval out. Just like little things like that where we have to kind of hunt and peck for it right now. But this is the predictive part I'm really excited about.
You know, you talked about the personalization. I'm still surprised how configuration, coding is so messy in companies, especially if a lot of them are good at service codes, proposals.
Yeah.
But if you have a product in addition, hardware, software, and services, they fall apart. It still goes back to Excel and back to Word. And
Yeah.
it's funny. It's like, why haven't we solved that problem?
Yeah. Well, and that's great. We have a number of customers who are exactly at that point where I need to sell, services, hardware, warranties, even, how do I get it all together on a quote? And I think that's definitely the future of what we're tackling. Is this needs to be simple. You hear a lot, from even our internal sales team is like, it just slows us down. We don't want to use it. I just go to something that we haven't delved into yet. I think is a really interesting space as well. When you really start tying and looking at, profitability, how do I drive profitable deals? Maybe not as important, subscriptions carry very little fees in, technology and software subscriptions, but you look at subscriptions of hardware, right? The fees are very different. How do I know I'm getting the right margins? How does the CFO know I'm getting the right margins? So I think that really bringing in that idea of in quoting that intelligence to say, am I selling this at the right price? And my sales team hates me when I say this, but I'm like, tie that back to compensation, right? If you're doing a bad deal for the company, you get paid less, right? And that really drives an incredible amount of behavior.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Funny you mentioned the margin analysis. I was talking to a company that does pricing and analytics for pharmaceutical.
Mm-hmm.
They said something I never thought I would hear. They were like, Vinnie, our sales cycle has slowed down. Pharmaceutical companies right now are making so much money. we need to find a different angle to go to them with. Margin analysis isn't that hard anymore. Wow, must be nice.
Yeah. 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 I find it so, yeah. Again, this is why when I see the definitions out there of revenue operations and it doesn't include finance and margins and analysis, I'm like, this is missing. It's a huge missing piece. And again, when I think about $1 of revenue, right, you've got to find that revenue. That's really marketing. You got to find that dollar, right? Then you've got to win that dollar. That's really Sales Cloud, right? Or sales, right? And then you've got to keep it, which is customer success. And then when I think about what Revenue Cloud does is it basically follows that cycle, right? It can really bring that data together. Like I was talking about, I feel like such a data junkie now, but data is the key to everything, right? And having that unified data. And again, I say unlocking every customer experience, right? And customer experiences include sending a quote to a customer. It includes sending a bill. That's a time to market something. If I send an invoice out, hey, look at these new products, right? So and then collecting, right? It's a customer touch point. And that's really the vision we have, is bringing all customer touch points to one system of engagement. That's where I think Revenue Cloud plays really nicely with, really the Salesforce portfolio of products, is you're unlocking that, right? You used to have to go find something in, your ERP system, but I want a salesperson to know, hey, there's $1 million outstanding invoice that's 90 days late, or customer success. Maybe there's something wrong with the implementation. Like, why aren't they paying? Like, those things are signals that we can proactively trigger inside Salesforce based on having that data there. But I also think too about a collector, right? If I'm going to get called to collect on a $10,000 open invoice, but there's $1 million opportunity, I'm going to be a lot nicer in my collections, right? I'm not going to threaten to turn your service off, right? You want to have everybody with that same real-time access to data. And I just think that's what gets me so excited about where we're going. So Vinnie, one thing I would love to share with you is just a customer story. Gordian, who's really using Sales Cloud and Revenue Cloud. And we talk about, bringing this together in enablement across this omni-channel, right? Really transforming quote to cash. I love the results here, right? 125% increase year over year in storefront revenue, with all of this running again on Revenue Cloud and Sales Cloud together. And what's great about Revenue Cloud is we're building an API first as well.
What industry is Gordian?
Construction management. This online storefront, you need to meet your customers where they want to be. And I think that's one of the things that this customer of ours, Gordian, really saw an opportunity. And how do I use technology to get there? One of the things with Revenue Cloud that we've been really focused on is API first. So a lot of customers already have their own storefronts, right? You don't have to use, we can connect to any storefront. We can connect to websites, right? To really take in all that information, get to quoting. And again, just really looking at, I love the internal efficiency aspect of this, but what I love more is the customer stories. And I think about customers of quote to cash, it's your actual end customer, but it's also your sales teams and your partners. And, you want to remove friction from the process, right? By automating approvals, by looking at everything on a customer's account to drive, again, automation, which you don't always bring together. I think we've kind of looked at, oh, you quote over here and you do this over here. And it's like, no, you need to look at that full picture, because I can auto approve things that used to take days to get approved based on what I know about the customer. What are their assets? How much usage have they had? Do I want to give them a better pricing option? So you start just getting much more rich data that really helps you, what I would say is speed up the sales cycle. And again, meet the customer where they're at. You can tell I'm excited about this space and where we're going. And I think where we can help customers really, again, drive best practices, drive adoption, out-of-box technology, because we're really thinking about all these use cases. I mentioned Einstein collections. I'm super excited about to GA next year. We'll also be GAing self-service subscription management, which is really a headless API, to Revenue Cloud. It connects to in-app. It connects to all e-commerce sites. We have B2B commerce. It can also connect to Shopify if you want, right? So we've really built this. So I mentioned websites, any buying experience really that's self-service is what we're launching in June of next year. So we announced that at Dreamforce, so I can publicly share that. We have some other exciting things that I cannot publicly share that are on the roadmap for next year. But, one of the things that I think we have a huge opportunity on this next year is really Slack. And how do we build apps in Slack to really think about advanced approvals, right? Approvals happen real time right there. We're talking about deal workrooms, right? Where you can collaborate on a deal, off of an opportunity, route those things for approval. I think there's an incredible use case that's super simple. It's a quick quote, right? It's in Slack because, I will tell you, I'm now a believer. I live in Slack all day long, but how simple will it be in Slack to say, hey, there's a command, create me a 10-seat deal for Revenue Cloud. And it auto generates a document inside Slack. You send it through DocuSign and you're done, right? It's all interfacing with Revenue Cloud in the back end, but your interface becomes that super simple conversational interface. So I think that that's some of the innovation you'll see next is really how we take the conversation. And it's not the more complex when we talk about the hardware, the software, the warranties, you'll be in a quote tool. Like that's going to be much harder because you're going to want to pull in a lot more information. But if you're selling a simple 10-seat deal, you should be able to do that in Slack. And that's frankly, as Salesforce, as a customer, a customer of Revenue Cloud, 70% of our deals are really simple deals that can just go through a simple interface. So those are the things I get more excited about that I can't commit to a date, but those are the things I'm looking at for next year too, is really how Slack can transform how we interact with our customers.
It's a telling statement when somebody as big as Salesforce can say, our deals are simple. We've obviously made so much progress in making it simple, right? Clearly, these are complex. Using traditional tools, they would be very complex. That's great.
Yeah. Well, and with that, I want to say thank you for having me. It's just, again, I can talk a lot about this, but hopefully it gave us a little preview into what we're thinking, how we're thinking about, bringing all these teams together on a shared data model, access to data, and really driving to, automation and AI and predictive. And, we want to meet you where we are. Any channel you want to do business within, that's what we're doing, is supporting all of our B2B experiences.
Meredith, this is fantastic. Thank you. I need to bring you back so we can keep talking about trends in the industry. I want you to talk about your competitors who cannot say, our deals are so simple. I can share some stories on some of the complex deals I've seen. So thank you again.
I would love that. That's great. And, speaking of competitors, I will not name any, but I think this is actually a real differentiator for Salesforce, in particular, more for our customers. When we think about the capabilities of CPQ, quote to cash, I actually like to call it product to cash. I really believe, CPQ, you can't quote something until you have a product set up and your product catalog and all your rules. But when I think about product to cash, living with CRM, your sales cloud, your service cloud, your marketing cloud, nobody else is doing this and really bringing it together with this vision. So I think we really have a lot to offer for our customers thinking about a united technology around revenue operations.
We've come a long, long way. At Gartner, I'd cover order management because that was usually part of ERP. And the CRM guys would say, oh God, that's not us. I go, it's customer facing. No, that's not us. So
yeah.
We've come such a long way.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's been fun to really work with everybody on talking about what this is. This is different. And I think really exciting for all of us.
Meredith, thank you again.